So welcome everyone to another exciting episode of the Resourceful Therapist, and I'm super excited to have someone very dear to our hearts at the Resource Therapy Institute, our dear friend and of course part of the Institute, the wonderful Yvette Allen here as our guest here. Now Yvette Allen has a career of over 35 years now, she tells me, in the therapy business. She's a psychotherapist and, of course, is a Resource Therapy International accredited clinical resource trainer and therapist. And, of course, she comes and helps us amazingly. She's not just that. She's got many strings to her bow. She's also a certified counsellor, a clinical hypnotherapist, and master practitioner and trainer of hypnosis, plus, and there's more, neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, and timeline therapy. And she has trained over the years in many modalities: medical hypnosis, gestalt, schema therapy, and used this and her beautiful skills with great effect to many clients. She's worked at Lifeline, and now Yvette is in her mission to empower people to grow to their personal best, both helping us with training and also working in private practice as a resource therapist, counsellor and hypnotherapist, where she helps people get to the root of their problems, set goals, and gently take the steps required to achieve their goals in the wonderful online presence and also in Hornsby Heights, where her private practice is. And she has many varied clients, so you're welcome to join in. We'll put a link up on there. So welcome Yvette. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so that's a long, lengthy bio there of just some of the things, but how initially did you get started? I'm curious, from probably a later career, most respectfully, a later career counsellor, which is a great thing, I think, because the older you get, the wiser you are, hopefully. How did you start that journey into the therapy world, Yvette?
Well, I suppose really the very first was I had my daughter. I was only 21 when I had her. That was my 21st birthday present. I don't know if it was. It's a good present now, but it wasn't then. And I suddenly one day heard myself speaking to her like my mother used to speak to me. And I was so determined I wasn't going to do that to her. Mm-hmm. Then I went to a psychologist. And I spent 7 years. And out of 7 years, I think I learned a little. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure she said more than 20 words, if that.
Wow.
But it didn't really get me anywhere. And I thought, well, there must be other things out there. And so I started to investigate. And the journey started as a counsellor. And I enjoyed doing counselling and I found it really rewarding. People would come to me, but I still didn't have the answer. So I went on, I did NLP, and then I did practitioner, then I did master practitioner, then I did train the trainer, and then I became a master.
Yes, you've done a lot of NLP, isn't it? I just want to pause you there on that, because I think that's worth mentioning. You were even involved recently in one of very famous Australian NLP.
Yes, Tad James, he passed on. And, you know, that was a great loss to NLP. He was, I think, one of the first. He was trained by Brandler and Grindler.
Wow.
And he had some unique things. He was one that started timeline therapy. And that's a great system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people use it, yeah.
Yeah, but it still didn't give me what I wanted.
Okay. And can I just say on that?
Yeah.
I know because you're invited to speak actually at a memorial service, isn't that right?
Yes.
James. I want people to know that. So you really...
Yeah, he was a wonderful man. And he had a wicked sense of humour.
Oh, like someone else I know.
Which suited me down to the ground, of course. And he leaves behind a lovely wife and you know, the NLP family that's still around and with them.
Yes, yes.
I'm not part of that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've got too much else to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's interesting. Whatever you learn, you take little bits of it that suit you. And you tend to add it in to other therapies. And on that note, I'm just going to say one thing. The trick that I've learned through learning so many therapies is when you go to learn a therapy, park all the rest of your therapies to one side. Learn what you're there to learn. And afterwards, when you've practiced it and know it inside out, then you can incorporate it. And then it works. And it works really well. NLP I use all the time to build rapport, to find out when I'm talking to my clients how they like to receive information, whether they're audio, visual, kinesthetic, or audio digital, which is, you know, they've got the voice in their head, whether it's theirs or their mother's, that tells them what they want to hear. So
that sounds incredibly useful.
That's really useful, and I use it a lot with resource therapy.
Actually, on that, Yvette, will you, I'm putting this out there, we are hoping Yvette's going to put something together for us, combining those two models in a way that's helpful to clinical resource therapists, the NLP.
Yeah, well, it's all ready to go.
Great.
So we've just got to fix a date for it.
Oh,
I haven't run it past you yet. I will. But you know what I'm like. I tend to change as I go.
Adaptable.
Some people call it that.
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah, it's an exciting. It will be, I think, very exciting.
I'm sure.
It will be a real insight into a lot of people. And I think it'll help them enormously in breaking the ice, building the rapport with people that you so need if you really want to get along quickly.
And of course, relationship and getting along quickly helps speed up the therapeutic process, because that's holding that in connection. That's what I think you're saying, is that building connection. Fantastic.
Yeah. So yes. So it'll be very much an eye opener.
I love it. I always learn something new, which is great.
And it'll help them with their presentations too, presentation skills.
Fantastic, actually, yes, because I've just been asked to help out with the advanced clinical there, and that's involves presentations, and we're so proud, aren't we, of our last year's beautiful crop of advanced clinicals and train the trainer people who did some amazing presentations too.
We've been so blessed with so many people that have come to us, and there's some wonderful therapists out there that we've turned out, and I feel very proud to have been part of that.
Fantastic. You should be. Yeah, me too. Humbly proud. And so you were saying, I think I interrupted you on saying something about timeline therapy, because
yes, timeline therapy is a great therapy, and it takes a person back to the initial sensitizing event. When they get there, they're not actually doing anything with it. They're taking the learnings that they need to take from it, and that's it. But it doesn't complete the task. And that's what I found very hard when doing timeline therapy. I found that very difficult to accept that. It felt as if it wasn't complete.
Okay, there was a missing piece there.
Just a missing link somewhere. It didn't leave the clients feeling relaxed or happy, or, you know, it didn't have what I wanted.
Okay. And I imagine you want the clients feeling happy and relaxed and slightly more.
Well, I want my clients to leave me not in floods of tears, not feeling, oh God, I've dragged all that up again, I'm having nightmares for days to come. I want them to feel relaxed and relieved, if you like.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
And a lot of clients actually leave with a smile on their face, and that's great.
I know that, and I've heard from it. A lot of
Yeah.
them launch at you non-COVID times, but for a big hug, don't they?
Oh, they often want a hug, and I'm a hugger. I don't care. I'm a hugger. Not in COVID, I haven't, but other than that, I'm a hugger.
Fantastic. Yes, because that's another part of human connection, isn't it? Just that.
Yes, and I have a great variety of clients of all sorts.
And so you're saying with timeline, and because I'm curious, all that training, Gestalt, hypnotherapy, schema, mindfulness,
Havening,
that's right, havening, and NLP. And how did you come to find RT?
Well, that was a very strange thing. A friend of mine said to me, "Oh, you've got to learn RT. It's so logical. It's so easy." I said, "Oh, yes. And before I knew where I was, I'd signed up to go to Bali. I had no idea what RT was. I had no idea what it was about. And I went along and I thought, oh, dear, this could be really boring, because the person that recommended it, I thought, might be too logical for me, if you like. And I was very intrigued, even just during the first 2 days. It gave me such a wide overview, if you like, into what RT was. And there was a little bell inside me that said, this sounds really good. It's simple. It's logical. I can follow it. So then I was, well on the way to being snared, shall we say. And then, of course, I carried on. I did the other 8 days, and so I did the full clinical. And I came back, and I was amazed, because I started using it straight away. This is always my way.
Yes.
Started using it straight away, not using anything else with it, and I was getting results.
Yeah.
So then I found myself train the trainer. And of course, I met you in 2015 at the RT, and that was one of my biggest blessings.
Oh, mine too.
And, you were so genuine and so sincere. And when I worked with you, I just felt so as if huge things were just falling away. My relationship with my daughter improved dramatically.
Oh, I got to meet the wonderful
Nikki.
and your beautiful husband, Carl.
Yes, Carl, he's gorgeous too.
Because therapy is a family experience, isn't it?
Well, it is, and they both did it, and yes, and so they do RT. Not as much, because in the UK there's so many restrictions and one thing and another if you're not a psychologist or a qualified counsellor through the
However, it's interesting.
However, people are there using it. So.
I know. I just looked on the Resource Therapy International website. It's in Romania, Austria, the Netherlands, Poland.
It's spreading.
It's
spreading.
Resource Therapy. Very often.
The UK is always a little bit slow. I think they've just discovered CBT.
No.
Which we've all used and crossed off the list, or at least I have. I mean, I'm not saying that hasn't got its uses. I'm sure it has. But for somebody like myself, if I've got to practice something over and over again, am I going to do it? No, not a hope in hell.
And most of our clients don't come with sort of problematic thought patterns or schemas for that. They're dealing with emotional upset.
Well, I think I had a lot of trauma in my life, a huge amount. And RT was the first thing that I could actually visit that trauma.
Wow.
And deal with it.
Okay, so not just visiting and dealing, you felt, right, so you have a lived experience, because that's how we train in resource therapy too, personal, professional. so you had a lot of trauma and have really done a
Oh,
lot.
look, yeah, I've done a lot of work with RT, and it's helped me more than any other program.
Wow, that's yeah.
And you know, when you know so many programs and you've used so many programs and you've done so much, and then you find a program that's simple, logical, kind, quick, and effective, it's a godsend.
Yeah.
You know, and I try and get the word out there. I'm not the best person at spreading the word, I'm here to tell you.
You're doing a great job now.
Yes, but you know, I'm not the sort that goes out and says, oh, you should learn RT, you should learn RT. But if somebody asks me, I have no hesitation in telling them. And when clients come to me and they say, well, you know, I've been to so many other therapists, and, you know, and I've said, oh, well, just explain to me, you know, what's bringing you here. And they said, I liked your website. And I thought, oh, okay. So I said, and what are you ready to change today? And then I get that answer, you know, that so many give. And they say everything. And I say, wow. And how many years has it taken you to build this everything? And they might say 19, 20 years. And I say, and you want me to change all that in one session? You know, come on, find me one thing, just one small little thing you're ready to change, that you are actually ready and wanting to change today. And, you know, they tell you something and that's it, you're away.
You're away, yes. Yeah. And I mean, I do say this, resource therapy has been pivotal in my experience of the occasional, not always, but because when we're dealing with complex PTSD and so forth, along big life patterns, it'll take more than one session, but there has been the one session wonders, I imagine.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, you know, there's so many people out there not feeling good enough. And I was one of those. It took me till I was 50 to get rid of that. Right. And I think just to lose that feeling of not good enough, that feeling of being put on a pedestal and frightened to death someone's going to shake it and you're going to fall off.
Like the imposter syndrome.
Like the imposter syndrome. Just to get rid of that is a huge thing.
Huge, massive.
Yeah, I mean, people suffer with that. They go to interviews, they're petrified, you know. And I have people come to me and they say, I want to change how I behave at an interview. One session. One session. It doesn't always take them where they think it's going to take them.
No, I love that about resource therapy, RT. It's like, it's the client's journey.
Where did that come from?
Exactly. Have you got an example, if you can think of one where you went, oh, that's interesting, where you started, or a particular one session case that comes to mind, actually?
Well, I had a young girl that phoned me, and she said that she hadn't been out the house for 5 years.
Significant.
She couldn't go outside. So I said, okay. Well, we did one session. 3 days later, she arrived on the doorstep.
Oh, you did it over the phone, I'm taking it. Wow.
Yeah, she arrived on my doorstep. Saying, look, I'm out the house, I'm here. So I had her in, we did another session. 2 weeks later, she was catching a coach to Queensland to visit her father, who she hadn't seen for 15 years.
Wow, that's huge.
And that's one session.
So you got her out of the house. I
got her out the house, which she was frightened to death to do. I got her actually on a bus, travelling, talking to people, asking directions.
And reconnecting with the family.
And reconnecting with her family in one session. Fantastic. How many other therapists do you know that you can do that?
No, to have that in such a short time frame of that's because that's usually a very entrenched
I
agoraphobia.
mean, 5 years of never going out, and within 3 days, she's out.
Wow, incredible. Incredible testament to your good therapy and resource therapy, the power of that.
Well, I think it's a testament to resource therapy, because any therapist can use this. Any therapist can learn this. All they have to do is practice it and have faith in it. And I think that's the most important thing.
Okay. Say some more on that, because I was interested to hear, and I think this makes a difference too. I think I did the same thing after learning the resource therapy. I just gave it a go. Like you said, you used it straight away after the
I did.
training.
I mean, I had my little notes there, you know, I'd call them a cheat sheet, and I'd look down at them and think, oh, I can do this step next, you know, and diagnose. I think, okay, now they're saying this, okay, you know, and I'd ask a couple of questions and figure out whether it was a vaded state or retro state that I was going to be dealing with. And it's usually, well, most of my clients are either retro or vaded states. Occasionally it's vaded with confusion or vaded with disappointment, which is like depression, really.
Yes.
But the majority, it's dealing with an unwanted emotion or an unwanted action, behavior.
Yep. And that's, let me just a little explain for the people who may or may not know resource therapy that well. So vaded are our unwanted emotions that come out when they come out on deck with the same level of affect and energy as when they became vaded, usually from early childhood, because we can have vaded material rejection. And our retros are parts of us that will perform helpful but no longer perhaps serving us behaviours. That could be
OCD is typical of that, I feel.
Don't you reckon too? I was just thinking about myself here, but we're in Sydney at the moment in lockdown. Hopefully that changes, but I think that stuff can put the pressure on those anxious parts of us and some of our, I will say, soothing type behaviours. It was funny, I'm in the grocery store, 1.5 metres of course, and I look at this girl. I think I had a little box of Ferrero Rochers.
It's confession time now, folks.
And then I saw, because the lady in front of me, you know, as they've got all the goodies, because there's quite a big line and they put the goodies there for a long time. Next minute, she's got these fairy cakes she's putting in. It's like, oh, yeah, I don't think that's an adult part that just put those in. I was like, yeah, I get you.
You never know.
I understand.
Yeah, I mean, some people, I think, have definitely gone to comfort eating because of COVID. Others have gone for shopping channels because we can't get out to the shops.
Yep. Actually, it was, and I was speaking to you earlier today. Actually, I spoke to my mum about my peanut brownies. My mum used to make peanut brownies, and I felt very connected when we making those together. And I got to lick the bowl, which was like a really big deal, licking chocolate. And that was connected to some of my comfort eating that I've dealt with. Very curious. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't dealt with mine yet. I'm getting there, but I'm not ready to deal with it. I think I enjoy it too much.
Well, that's the retro that I think, you've got to be talking, especially around food and nourishment and emotional nourishment is...
And of course, not being able to exercise is very frustrating.
It is.
Yeah. But that's, you know, just having a lot of pain due to back injury. But, you know, interestingly, there is also a process in resource therapy, which we use. It comes in the clinical, we touch on it, but more so in the advanced, which is using that wonderful magic sieve, which when pain gets too much, we can go through that sieve and leave some of it behind.
Yes.
And that's very powerful. And I use that daily.
Yes. Oh, that's fantastic, because I know our listeners, our viewers here won't know, but Yvette's got chronic pain. It's really severe, and back injury and operations galore. You weren't
Mhm.
expected to walk, were you?
No, I was told they didn't know if I would walk again or not. But here I am, and I walk.
And
Not far, but I walk.
and using, that's what I like about the magic, the Sieve RT action. I have to write 14. Got it. I always. It is such a wonderful process that you can use to help and assist.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
And it's used for so many things. So many things. But if we get onto that subject, you'll never get me off. So maybe we should move on.
Okay, I just want to say I work with someone and we use the Sieve, and the person said, I don't want to sound like this, but he said 40 years of shame. Shame is a big one, toxic shame.
Oh, yes.
He said, I feel lighter and freer at the end of that session. Quite incredible. Yeah. So, I was just thinking, because that's right, in Bali we met, and I met Carl and Nikki, and that was really nice because
Yes. Nikki was funny. I mean, I can remember when I was first learning how to deal with her, and one thing and another. When I turned into my mother now and again, something would slip out, and she'd very quickly pick me up, and she'd say, "Don't start using that emotional blackmail shit on me, Mother. It won't work."
very assertive.
You could say that, yes. And I'm thinking, why am I teaching her all this stuff?
Yeah, I think RT that's, I think, at the kind of heart of it too, is about relationships and restoring and repairing relationships in a way that's helpful to yourself, and the other person doesn't have to change, but you can change your interactions.
And the other interesting thing about her husband Carl was he had a session actually with you and dealing with shoulder pain, and he had terrible shoulder pain from a motorbike accident he had years ago, and he'd had it for years and years and years, and since that session with you he's never had it again.
Wow.
And that was 2015.
Yeah, that's sometimes what happens. I remember that session.
One session.
Yep.
I mean, wow.
That's the magic of RT.
Yeah, it is. But some people, when you express this and tell them about it, they think, "Oh, it can't possibly work that quick."
Yeah, true.
My answer to them is, "Come and try
it." Yes, that's the proof is in the pudding, is my.
Yeah, I think it should be, and this is purely a selfish way of looking at things, I think it should be a necessity that every therapist should have to do the induction to RT.
Yep, true.
It saves them doing 5 years of psychotherapy.
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of beautiful therapists, counsellors, new psychologists, social workers, etc., nurses.
EMDR.
Yes, this is very useful parts. Very useful.
Fantastic.
But you come out of the system having learned at university, but real clients.
Clients can be really frightening.
Just the amount of problems sometimes that people have been struggling with.
And if you get pulled into it, it's not helping them and it's not helping you.
That's true. You've got a very important, because we offer supervision circles, it's being able to have your best therapist come out. But you can have other parts suddenly come out. I'm a couples therapist, you're a couples therapist. I'm like, oh, this is like mum and dad in session.
Yeah. Well, you do get it. You do. And, and then you can also get the women that have experienced vicious husbands and that have experienced violence and physical and emotional abuse. And it gives them a voice. Something they've never been given before. It gives them that voice, that power to express and feel as though they're heard.
Yes.
And then it gives them a choice whether they want that person in their space or not. It's fantastic.
it's really freeing. That I've seen that with people kind of locked in that amazing dynamic that happens in sort of an emotionally abusive relationship, where there's like a younger part, almost like fantasy, oh, but he's so good, and there are parts of him that are amazing, or her, by the way, but the majority of domestic violence towards women, and that fantasy part is sort of running the show, whereas a wise, mature part can see, hang on, this is not, there was a red flag, there's been another red flag, and now my self-esteem's down the toilet, and because I'm kind of playing out the patterns of my early childhood from feelings of being unlovable, not deserving of love, healthy relationships, amazing. But with some of the
and even little ones.
So I'm just saying, like, I've seen people go, oh, I get it.
You know,
I get me and I get him or her. They're not going to change. And that's in itself incredible, isn't it? Sometimes that emotional aha. Yvette, you've seen that, I imagine.
Oh, look, you know, when you're in a as we call it, an unhealthy relationship of some type, generally speaking, you feel, or you're, shall I say, led to feel, coerced to feel, everything is your fault. And even when you know it's not, and you've left, you still carry it, shooting all over yourself. And then you come to resource therapy, and guess what? It's not your fault.
No, that's very freeing, isn't it? Sorry, your internet's cutting in and out there a little bit, Yvette, so I'm just, you're frozen, but I can still hear you. It is freeing because you can, I call them life patterns, leaving life patterns where we...
Yes, you've gone, actually. Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing thing that we, even as a child, some of us are so convinced that we're not loved, we're unlovable. And to be able to go and have a session and learn that it's not you that's unlovable, it's nothing to do with you. It's the fact that the person that's supposed to love you, and I think that
the person that's supposed to love you isn't...
It's really empowering to know that...
of offering that unconditional love. Sorry, you cut out at that point. And it is really empowering to, and just, that's like a burden of responsibility, I think, because little people are designed that way to keep themselves sort of, and they're egocentric. So the world revolves around them. So if there's a problem in the world, it must be them that's causing the problem, not it could be their caregivers. But it's, and as adults, because resource therapy works with children, adults, couples as well. It's really amazing. It's very rewarding work, isn't it?
It is. And I think also we're not actually putting all the blame on the parents.
Oh, no. Not blame at all, really.
When we have a child, we don't get given a manual with it. Maybe every parent should learn our...
Well, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people sort of have, and that makes sense, to have a loyalty to their parents. And of course, we in resource therapy aren't about parent blaming. It's more understanding, hang on, a parent's lack or what they did or didn't do at a particular moment in time had an impact for you that wasn't necessarily as what you needed.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know, that might be because I can't tell you how many times we do this bridging process in resource therapy, because we like to get to the root cause when these parts of us were hurt or neglected emotionally, or and in those moments we get a sense of what was happening for that caregiver. And quite often there's been horrendous circumstances, i.e. domestic violence, the loss of another child, depression, mental health issues, or just a moment missed. If you know, we can literally, I've gone back to the womb, I'm sure you have, I think sometimes being a little babe crying in the crib can feel like an eternity of, and pretty scary on a survival level that we're going to.
You know, I had one gentleman come to me and he said he could make money, but he couldn't keep it.
He could make money, but he couldn't keep it.
And I thought, well, this is strange. But he couldn't keep it. So he started a company, he'd make money, and then it would go.
Interesting.
It was like he sabotaged it.
Mm-hmm.
So we did one session, 2 in all, and went back when he was in the womb.
In the womb. And don't tell me, I think I know this. I'm going to say this, Yvette, because you're cutting in and out. But was that hearing, or for some reason he had an experience or some sense of his parents arguing over money? Yes. Well, it appears Yvette has kind of temporarily gone offline there. Yvette, we'll see if we can get you back on. Otherwise, we might have to have a little moment of that. Just saying, Yvette, can you come on without your video perhaps? Because we do know from the research that it actually in utero stuff can be transmitted. I can see you now, Yvette, that children in a environment where there's a lot of tension and it doesn't feel very particularly safe if that parents are arguing or so forth, that can impact a fetus, the growing baby, and that's well known now in our research. So actually therapy is sometimes starting with babes in the womb. I can see you, Yvette. Just unmute yourself. Oh, the wonders of technology. Can you?
That's
Here we
it.
go. Gotcha. Yeah. Fantastic.
Do you want me to stop the video?
No, it seems all right for now, but if not, just we can stop the video because you've got a nice picture of yourself. So perhaps if I can ask you then, Yvette, what skills and abilities do you think are useful for a resource therapist to help their clients? What skills and abilities?
I think the most important of all is to be able to be empathic, to learn the therapy inside out. If you know other therapists, park them at the door until you've learnt resource therapy. Resource therapy goes very well with a number of other therapists, but you have to learn the therapy first. It's like anything. If you try to integrate two things and you don't know how either of them really work, it won't work. So if you learn one therapy, mind you, having said that, you learn resource therapy and you learn it so well, and when you start working with the clients using it, quite often you forget about the other therapists, unless sometimes you come up with something and you want to use another therapy. But you can mix it in. You can. You know, it's, with hypnosis, some people say that they just want hypnosis. And I say, okay, fine. And we do hypnosis, and guess where the hypnosis leads us to?
I don't know, some RT perhaps, yes. So you can combine.
RT there.
Yeah. It's very adaptable in that.
And it works beautiful. Yes. I mean, even down to weight loss. I have one client, she came to me, she'd been to everybody. She'd tried everything, literally. She was 156 kilos. Now she's 132.
Wow, that's good.
And that's in less That's in less than 15 weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty good, because that's what's that, 20-30 kilos in? Wow. Oh, that's good on her. Well done, Yvette. That sounds. Tell me though,
Yeah.
and I'm curious.
Well,
have you worked on the weight issue, or what are you really working on?
for me, with
that?
her,
Mm,
I work on whatever comes up.
mm.
We very seldom talk about weight.
That's why I asked.
Very, very seldom.
Yes.
There's a lot of other things we've talked about. There's a lot of other things that have come up. But, you know, when you clear the decks, you allow to be able to focus on other things. But if you've got so much going on in your head and so many hates about yourself and so many things about, if I grow thin and I become attractive to men, I'm going to be in trouble again, all this sort of thing. And once you can clear that deck away and all those hurdles, it's fantastic. It's easy.
Easy, yeah. Oh, great. Yeah, it is fantastic, because people struggle a lot with food, mood, and weight, and protection, all different ways. Yes, fantastic. And so, coming to this is fantastic. Yvette, what would any other parting words of wisdom in your long and valuable therapy career that, of course, continues to inspire?
I would say, don't knock it till you tried it. You know, if you're dubious about RT, or you don't, you know, it sounds too good to be true, just do the 2-day course. We've even got it online. You know, it's not that hard. And then come along, do the clinical, and start to really see how you can help your clients.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
And they'll love you forever for it.
You got a fan club, yeah. Well,
and of course, come to the Resource Therapy Institute.
You come train with us, of course. We appreciate it, but there's lots of great trainers. And we're now online, so we are worldwide. We're global, and you get Yvette's wonderful humour. Chris's droll. He could be a lecturer, a university lecturer, Chris. Myself is.
Oh yeah, yes, but he's a very good therapist.
Oh, he's amazing. He's amazing, and I love everyone at the institute, and got some amazing yourself and amazing supporters as well. One of my clients just sent me a text because we just found a park called Chiller.
I think. I think the main thing is, when you come to do the RT and you come to do the clinical, you also get the opportunity of experiencing it.
Oh yes, it's powerful,
and that can be gold.
Total. It's a gold.
Yeah, that can work like gold. So, you know, take advantage. I mean, at the moment, I would say we're way underpriced for what we should be when you compare it to other therapies.
I've heard that.
So take advantage of it now.
Yeah, yep.
You know, don't wait, because I can promise you, in a year or so's time, you'll be paying double.
Oh.
If I get my way.
Oh, no. I couldn't have that.
No, only joking. But
no. See, so, no, I'm pretty generous.
But you know, too generous. Yeah. But for what we're actually giving, for benefits that you will receive, it's dirt cheap.
And it's priceless, actually, really. The
benefit. It is. And you benefit as a person from doing it. Not just as a therapist, you benefit as a person.
Actually, in one of the
and I think that's great.
Oh, of course it is. It has a flow-on effect. In the supervision group, Yvette, one of the supervisors, even though she extensive career, perhaps over 20, 30 years of psychology, I can't remember which, but very skilled clinician. She said, Philipa, I don't know how I used to work without RT. How did I help my clients before? I just can't imagine doing anything else. And, you know, she's having so much beautiful.
I've heard that a lot.
And she said, I just don't know how I ran my practice. And I'm about the same. There's a life before RT.
Well, I mean, But do you remember there was a doctor came along, and he was a great one for food and what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat and one thing and another. And he used to treat depression with tablets. And now he doesn't give any antidepressants. He uses RT.
Yes.
And I mean, if a medical doctor stops using medication, which is easy to dole out, to do RT, well, I think that speaks for itself.
Especially for depression, because we're in anxiety and depression. RT is just a natural fit for. This client just sent me a text that working through depression, and already he's got different parts of himself he can access. One was called Chiller. He just sent me to Chiller is chilling because it's watching some sort of TV program. But he's, you know, and I know this from Chris too, who he said to me, Chris, he said, my dear husband, he used to hate his least favourite. He wouldn't use hate. Least favourite issue to work with was depression. Now, I swear he quite loves it because it's so freeing. The very interesting way we have of working with those different parts and respectfully and getting them re-engaged neurologically. It does have a lot faster impact, and it's a lot more fun, I've got to say. I like Resourceful Therapy because
I think, you know, with depression, you know, when you get client after client after client with depression, it's quite depressing in itself. And, you know, to be able to have something that can lift that, and then something you can use the sieve on yourself to unload it. It's fantastic.
Yep. And
you know, I mean, get out there and try it.
Yep.
And you know, that's all I can say. Try it for yourself. You can just do that 2-day just online course. Try it.
Yeah, that's right. We have it pre-recorded because we've got a clinical coming up.
Sign up quick because the numbers are. Yeah, and you'll miss the boat if you don't hurry up.
Yep, we want to get on the boat. I said to Chris, I'm going to get you to run the day on working with our retros and depression because I think, it's going to be very beneficial. He said, yeah, because he really has it nailed. He really has it. Well, Yvette, that has been a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to connect. As always, I love your energy, your humour, enthusiasm. You're just a delight. And I'm so glad you're out there helping lots of people with online and Hornsby Heights if you can get there with COVID protocols, of course. And I know it's so good because we're in different areas. Sydney, Yvette's actually an hour away because otherwise we'd be on having cups of tea at each other's place. But to be able to have someone out that way.
Oh, absolutely. And with COVID.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of clients out there that have suffered because of COVID. Their relationships suffer, their relationship with their children suffer. Yeah. And, you know, they can talk to us, they can have a Zoom session and feel better.
Yep. Yeah, especially.
Don't suffer in silence. Get on the phone.
Yeah, yes, there's a lot of.
Find an RT person.
Yep, true. And we can there, because I do feel for our singles that are very, very isolated and maybe people in unhappy circumstances, but yeah, find an RT therapist and a couples therapist as well. So Yvette, on behalf of the Resource Therapy Institute, I want to say amazing thank you for all you do. And it's been a wonderful opportunity to share you with the world here. So thank you to all those people watching. As Yvette said, I'll put some links in. We offer training and resource therapy. Yvette's available. There are resource therapists around the world now. Come learn and find out why we're so excited about it and want to share it, and why it's such beautiful and rewarding.
And getting on the ground floor.
True. It's starting to take off.
You know, getting on the ground floor. It's starting to take off, and the more people that we train, the more people can be helped.
Yes.
And there are millions out there that need help.
Millions that need help, because yes, that's right. Thank you, Yvette. That's a wonderful. Let's you have the last word.
And thank you for talking with me. Thank you for talking with me. And you know, I think the Resource Institute is absolutely amazing. I learnt first from Gordon Emmerson, of course, same with you, Philipa. But I've learnt even more coming along and helping you with doing the courses. And, you know, I feel very blessed to be part of the Resource Therapy Institute. And I look forward to meeting all of you people, because you're not going to regret one bit learning resource therapy.
Life-changing.
It's my therapy of choice.
Thank you.
So thank you.